Good evening to everybody. It is good to see you, and it is good to be seen by you. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful evening. Hello, Alan, Canning, Vinny, Finnegan, Damien247, great old ones, Lord Misfit. I, of course, am the one and only Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere in the swamps of Central Florida. Victory Lane Exotics, Bill, how are you? Matthew Sherman, Wheeling Dragon, hello, hello. Bob Schult, hanging out there. Orbital Air. Anyway, good to see you all. And I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic evening. Welcome to what I really consider, here we are coming up on the middle of the month, but I sort of think of this as the real return to flight for 2025. Last week was all broken up. The week before that was, of course, New Year's week, and then I took all of December, a lot of December off. But here we are now in what is the first full week back to work. I am doing hunky-dory, Wheeling Dragon. Thank you for asking very much. But anyway, so I'm glad to be here. It's good to see you guys. You know, I'm not telling you, well, nothing's happening tomorrow night. Let me ask you a favor. First of all, if you're wondering what this is, what this craziness, what this zaniness that you might have stepped into is, don't scrape me off the bottom of your shoe just yet. We have a lot of fun here on this live stream. We have guests, we have live plays. I do pre-recorded videos about TTRPG news and just a whole bunch of other stuff. And if you haven't already, all right, let me ask you something. If you haven't already, would you please, for me, would you please consider clicking the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications? Could you do that for me? I would really appreciate it. It would be super cool if you could do that. I would really appreciate it. It helps an awful lot when folks do that. So please do consider clicking that button. But I just wanted to ask you that, if you would. It is, as they say, the old call to action, you know, pops up in videos periodically. But anyhow, so we've got a heck of a week lined up, and I'm really excited about it. Tomorrow night, we're back after a month and a half. We'll be playing first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons live. And if you don't know about that, if you don't know our live plays, we've already done one in 2025. We did some Gamma World back last Friday. That was loads of fun. My live plays are, I tend to think of them as pretty authentic. We actually play, you know, we don't do table reads. We don't have scripting sessions. We don't have story arcs, seasons, plots, main character, anything like that. Everything goes. We roll the dice out where you guys can see them, and a character's unaliving is a character's unaliving, and it happens. It has happened before. It'll probably happen again. But it is something that is real and honest and true, and it happens. Hello, Odd Scimitar. Good to see you. Darth Brooks, Jorge Uri. So we do that on Tuesday. Wednesday, my co-host Kyle will be here. Who knows what shenanigans we're going to get into on Wednesday. I'll be finding out from him soon enough, and then you'll be finding out when you join us. Thursday, this coming Thursday, I don't think I have. Typically, I like to slot my guests in on Thursday. I don't think we have a guest this week, but that's fine. We can find something fun to do. In fact, I think I know what we're going to do Thursday. David Mills, good to see you. Christopher Sims, finding the turbo button for the internet, aka the caps lock. And then Friday, we're rejoining Gamma. There is a dangerous touch and go battle happening in the Gamma World game. So you guys, you gotta tune in for that. And that's right, Orbital Air. The adventure is your backstory. Very good. You can have a gold star off the sticker sheet tonight. But anyway, so that is our week ahead. That is what we're going to be looking at this week. Next week, it's going to be much the same. It's going to be much the same. We have coming up, I think on the 17th. That's this coming Saturday. I think that's this coming Saturday. All new on our brand new channel, the Nerd Council of Doom. I hope you guys are all subscribed to that. If you're not, please check out Nerd Council of Doom. That's myself, Dungeon Minister Yang Yanzhao, and we're going to be talking about matters of nerdly import, and I'm excited about that. We've got our own channel, and we've got we've got a lot of good stuff in store for you there. Let's see. That's right, Ernie Gygax, feeling better. So anyway, so that's all ahead, and then next Thursday actually is my birthday. It's the birthday show. So you've got just 10 shopping days left until the Delver has another birthday. I will put that link up. I'm going to share that link just as soon as I get that formalized in my macros here. But fear not. Fear not. I will share that. How old? Yeah, 40. Thank you. Yes, Darth Brooks, 40. Just finally not 39 anymore, right? But anyhow, what else do we have going on? Let's see. Oh, I live streamed yesterday. I was on Tim M. Holt's channel. We talked a lot about some Wizards of the Coast nonsense and shenanigans that's going on there. But you should go watch the video. You should check out Tim M. Holt here on YouTube. He talks TTRPG stuff from time to time. Dave Davies says 40 is the new 30. Just out of curiosity, not because I'm this advanced age, but what is 55 again? Anyhow, when are they not doing nonsense? Right, exactly. Had a little bit of fun talking to Tim. Going to be doing something cool with Tim, but I can't give away any details. It's going to be later in 2025. I have a busy ass 2025, and let me tell you what, you got to watch your hyphens. Okay, is it a busy ass 25 or is it a busy ass 25? You gotta be careful with that. But anyhow, so lots of cool stuff is coming down the pipeline. I, of course, will be heading out to EggCon in July of this year. I'm really super excited about that. You know what? I'm biting the bullet. I'm going full mobile studio. I will be streaming from EggCon. You guys better be there for it. Where I am sure I can grab a couple of guests to join us. Blarg, squats and bench tomorrow. I'm doing some light curls tonight after, actually, when I'm playing AD&D. I'm going to be doing some 12-ounce curls. I'm pretty excited about that. But that's on down the line. EdCon is actually in Lake Geneva. It is a convention put on by Eric and Heidi Gygax Garland to honor EGG, E. Gary Gygax. I will be there. Many luminaries will be there. Paul Stormberg will be there. Alan Hammock will be there. So many. I think they got like 27 guests showing up to this con, and they're going to have hundreds of people there. All right, it's going to be a lot of fun. Ironcaster, I feel you. I absolutely feel you. TXG, greetings. Good to see you. There you go. A +1 to a roll. They can do 10 sit-ups, push-ups, or crunches. Get me some Captain Crunch. I'll get a +5 by the end of the night. But anyhow, so what else is going on? Okay, so as I said, I do TTRPG news from time to time. I will talk about whatever in channels, and I try. So I try to spin things. I try to spin things like, generally speaking, if Wizards of the Coast is doing something in the broader sense of D&D that can have that can have an impact on classic D&D, I like to talk about it if it's newsworthy. A lot of times they don't, you know. Like, I'm not a Magic the Gathering guy. Now, when they sent the Pinkertons after that Magic the Gathering YouTuber not this past summer, I guess 2 years ago, I had to talk about that. So I could not, I couldn't just let that go. But generally speaking, I like to focus on stuff that can have an impact on D&D. But by and large, I tend to stay away from just the larger hobby and kerfuffles. And I want to, I want to preface what I'm about to discuss with something. I don't get political on my channel, and I never will. Culture Conf can be a very divisive topic. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Rob Robovsky Turner, good to see you. We are gamers. Whether you're a war gamer, a board gamer, a TTRPGer, we are used to win conditions. We don't back down from our positions easily, if at all, ever. And it can bleed over into internet discussions. And that mindset can take hold of you, me, anyone else in the chat. It can latch onto, and we can get pretty set on being right. Yet another person from Oceania. Good to see you down there, Mr. Nixon. You're not my only fan in that corner of the Pacific Rim. But greetings to the land of Middle Earth, Mr. Nixon. Alan, I'll discuss that. You know what? Here, I'll put that where I can find it. I'll put a pin in that. We can come back to your request about our Monday night game. So, but the one thing that I want to make 100%, yeah, oh, Jack, thank goodness for checking in buddy. When I read the weather the other day, I think chance of fire. Yeah, no kidding. I hope you're safe, my friend. I hope you and your family, your loved ones are all safe. Um, but anyway, uh, so with that said, uh, I was I was greatly disappointed to see this. Now, I also want to preface this by saying this is not new. This is not something that just came up today, but it just started making the rounds today. Um, Now, with all that said, I don't play Pathfinder. A lot of people are like, yeah, good old, I'm a grognard, man. I like Pathfinder first edition. And I'm like, it's not, I mean, okay. But it's not my cup of tea. This is not about Pathfinder. This is not about any game or game system per se. Mathfinder, exactly. One of the top 3 people at Paizo, Jason Bullman, he dropped this tweet and then backed it up and then backed down off of it and then deleted it and then went into lockdown mode. And I want to share this. He said, if Vance, and that's not a reference to Jack Vance, that's a reference to the vice president, well, not the current vice president, but the vice president elect. If Vance has played Pathfinder, I want him to send his books back. No space for fascists in our game. The appellation gatekeeper is very frequently thrown at a lot of people over the idea that they want to be a good doorman for the hobby. They don't want people to sit down at the table and bring real world stuff to the table. I'm that kind of gatekeeper. Like, hey, you want to play D&D? That's great. That's fantastic. Come and sit and play D&D. I think that's wonderful. Don't bring real world baggage with you. And if you insist on it, then I'm going to say, don't come to my table. And if you're going to bring it to whatever table you're going to go to, maybe this isn't the hobby you want. Is that gatekeeping on my part? Perhaps it is. But if that's what it takes to keep our hobby as accepting and fun as possible, then sure, brand me with that. But I would never say, if Harris has played first edition AD&D, I want her to send her books back. No space for commies in her game. Now, I don't think she is one of those. I don't think she's a commie. I don't agree with her political points of view. This take by Mr. Bullman is ugly and it's regrettable. And I sincerely hope that the folks over at Paizo will take a good long look at this. Now don't go, I would say don't go harass him, but he has kind of put his Twitter on soft lockdown. It's an ugly, divisive point of view. And it is tarring with a broad brush a number of people. this doesn't help anyone. This doesn't make anything better. Stuff like this ratchets up the tension. It makes people feel uncomfortable and unhappy. And maybe Mr. Bullman is okay with that. Now, he again is in top tier at Paizo. Is this the mindset of Paizo? Because if it is, I don't really want anything to do with them and their company. That seems pretty exclusionary. That seems pretty gatekeeping. To level that kind of accusation at someone, and by extension, anyone who might support him. And that's over half the registered voters in this country who voted in the last election. Just in case anybody's curious about that. The problem with Twitter is it gives you the immediacy of any intrusive thought you have. And here is proof. And this doesn't help. This is bad for the hobby. It makes me want to not recommend Pathfinder to anyone ever. If someone comes to me and says, I want a more complex, mathematically advanced continuation of 3rd and a half edition D&D, what do you got for me, Bill? I would say play 3rd and a half edition D&D with lots of extensions. Whereas a week ago, I'd have said Pathfinder. I would really hope that Mr. Bullman, who, by the way, is welcome to come on my show, if he wants to explain this, if it, maybe it was in the heat of the moment. I would want him to perhaps reconsider this and say, you know what? I'm not of that person's political party. It was a heat of the moment thing. It was dumb and I was wrong. He's welcome to the opinion. But just understand that opinion can have consequences. And our hobby needs to be all-inclusive, and it used to be. I'm going to get this down. I'm going to take this off the screen because that's I think is divisive just having it in. I want to share something, and I, this is a bully pulpit of mine, but this bears repeating. Okay, this bears going back to and saying over and over again. So I'm going to share something else now. This is what I believe in. This is not a political hot take. This is something that all gaming should be. Players, and more players. That's what comprises the D&D phenomenon. And phenomenal is what it is. As the audience for this, the granddaddy of all role-playing games, continues to expand. D&D players happily come in all shapes and sizes, and even a fair number of women are counted among those who regularly play the game, making Dungeons & Dragons somewhat special in this regard. This widespread appeal cuts across many boundaries of interest and background, which means that D&D players are marked by a wide range of diversity. In fact, one could easily use the analogy that there are as many types of D&D players as there are D&D monsters. After that, draw your own conclusions. There are unquestionably fast players, slow players, clever players, foolish players, cautious players, reckless players, generous players, greedy players, friendly players, and obnoxious players. As diverse as this melange of enthusiasts is, they all seem to share one commonality: a real love for Dungeons and Dragons and a devotion that few other games can claim. This remarkable loyalty is a great factor in the game's explosion of popularity, and Dungeons and Dragons has become a gaming cult as avid D&Ders have ceaselessly spread the gospel, enrolling new players in expanding groups which seem to grow and grow. If you're reading this, then you're a D&D player, and this book is for you. Diversity. Acknowledgement that we come from all walks of life, that players are from every area of interest, and that if you love D&D, this book is for you. So my question to Mr. Bullman might be, is that not the case with Pathfinder? Because it's always been the case with D&D. It's always been the case with D&D. And I would hope that perhaps in the analysis of this, not that he would not feel comfortable sharing his opinions, but that he would understand that we are one big, happy family of gamers. Whether you're the vice president-elect or just some schmuck with a video camera and an internet connection. I want everybody to have fun. I want everybody to have a good time. Does that make me wrong? And I think throwing around labels like fascist, I mean, that's gotten used so much. I don't think anyone really understands what it means. I can give you a history lesson on it, but this is neither the time nor the place. And just a spoiler, though, it didn't start in Germany in the 1930s. It didn't even start in Italy in the 1920s. I just want people to sit down and be able to enjoy stuff. I mean, this should be our place of commonality, shouldn't it? It used to be. You know, I'm gonna spoil something a little bit because oh, thank you, Dave. Thank you for tuning in, man. Alan Canning said, you'd love to hear about my home game. Is it on Mondays? Yeah, I'll tell you about my home game, and I'll tell you something about my home game. We have that broad spectrum of diversity at our Monday table. And the thing that I tell people, nobody talks politics, and everybody knows that, and everybody assents to that. It's been going for 11 years now, guys. I think I'm doing something right. All right. Jokes about incompatible species in the terrarium aside, we share the point of commonality that we all love D&D. And the folks on the left and the folks on the right, we send Christmas cards to each other. That's mi familia, you know? So I don't think stuff like that really helps. So I'm done. I'm off my soapbox about that. So let's talk about positive stuff now. That was just a thing that popped up. And was it the French bill? I don't know. About that. No, Damien, it was not. It was not. It was not the French. It was the Romans, actually. The word has a specific meaning. So anyway, the Monday night game is a lot of fun. The Monday night AD&D game is loads of fun. It has been going since 2014. Now, I'll tell you straight up, the first year or two, it was pretty fits and starts, and it was a small group, 4 or 5 players. If like a couple of people didn't show up, we just didn't play D&D that night. But then it started going strong. I got like 5 or 6 players. And I just started adding more and more. I think we peaked out at 15. But that only lasted for a few sessions. And then it kind of shrank back down to 12. We started out with just kind of an open world of Greyhawk game that I was running. And those characters leveled up, and we played Village of Hamlet to get a lot of folks leveled. And we got all the way up to playing the A modules. We got into A2. We got about halfway through A2, and we had a night, at this point, I think we were 6 players. And we had a night when like 3 people didn't show up, but 3 people were there. And I was like, damn it, I still want to run some D&D tonight. So everybody make new characters, and we'll just do like a one-off adventure tonight. And I grabbed the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I used the sample dungeon, and we started playing that. And the 3 folks who had been there for that session, when the folks that were absent came back, they wanted to play that. We wanted to finish that out and then get back to the A series. And we've never gone back to the A game. We have run this party through a few modules. They cleaned out the they cleaned out the monastery dungeon and the second level beneath it, which I had full of ogres. Then we played White Plume Mountain, and we started adding more players. We did White Plume Mountain over the course of a couple of months. And then we came back, and after White Plume Mountain, we just kind of had some cool adventures. Then we did not Tharisden. We did S4 and WG4. Or no, I don't think they did. No, this group did not do WG4. A2 is Assault on the Area of the Slave Lords. Or no, A2 is Secret of the Slaver Stockade. I'm sorry. Secret of the Slaver Stockade. A3 is Assault on the Area of the Slave Lords. The online crew is not completed A2, Michael's Stronghold. We will be jumping back to that tomorrow. But the group did they did S4, Lost Caverns of Sojkonth. We did some more world building, had some more adventures. They went back to my Castle Greyhawk dungeon, found a lost world level, fought some dinosaurs, fought some ape men. And now they are in the midst of G2, Glacial Rift of the Frost Giant Jarl, which we're going to be getting back to tonight. Victory Lane asks, is it difficult to play with that many? So we're down to 10 now. We are 10 players on Monday night, And no, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. You just, you have to keep combat moving. And then you have, for dungeon exploration, you have a caller. You know, everybody reports to the caller and the caller reports to me. Ook 1 to 3 against the Ape Cult series. Yes. Yes, we're gonna write that one day, Kyle. That is, by the way, the Viking Hat GM is my co-host. That is Kyle. He is a wonderful, wonderful person. He is a damn good friend, and I love it. He will be in charge of the shenanigans, the master of ceremonies, as it were, dungeon master of ceremonies, if you will, on Wednesday. So I'm excited about that. So. Yes, the Ook 1 to 3 against the Ape Cult. Yes, I love the Ape Cult series. Alan just healed one hit point. Woohoo! I got you, brother. All right, we'll find something to do on Wednesday. Let me tell you, I'm just, I just want to say something right here. I just want to say something really awesome. Kyle is a great person. Kyle is, I mean, he's just a good guy. All right. Part of why my channel goes as hard as it does these days is Kyle. Now, he could motivate me to get in shape, which is probably going to catch up with me in a few years, but, you know. But Kyle was very able to motivate me to not just let my channel collapse into obscurity. So, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, my brother. Joe Kaufman, hello to you. Victory Leanings on. What is the best way to get early D&D modules? Print on demand, my friend. Just go to DriveThruRPG and like a shark swimming through a pool of caviar, open your mouth and scoop. Most of the classic modules are available print on demand. That includes G123, D12, and D3, and Q1. That includes A1 through 3, T1, T1 to 4, S1, S2, S3, and S4. I believe C1. But I would not, I do not recommend that you try and track them down on eBay. The eBay prices have gotten completely insane. Just over the top, just stupid expensive. So don't go that route. Yeah, just hop on drive-through. And buy all the B modules. Yeah, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And if it is not available print on demand, just shoot that sucker off to Lulu. Take it to Staples or paper clips or binder clips or straight pin through the corner of the pages. Whatever your local office printing place is. Walk in with that thumb drive and say, print my Dungeons and Dragons stuff, because odds are the dude behind the counter at the very least knows what it is. At the most, he probably plays. Unless he's some old crank who had his own print shop until they forced him out of business, and then he had to go crawl in there to get $11 an hour. Boy, that turned dark quick, didn't it? What is a good follow-up module after B2? Oh, that's a good question, Joe Kaufman. T1? T1 is a good follow-up module after B2. If you're setting your campaign in Greyhawk, as all good campaigns should be that are not pure 100% homebrew, I would recommend running T1. So you're a little bit better off you're going to be a little, the giant toads in the moat, at the moat house, a little less likely to TPK you right there. The bandits, the giant constrictor snake, and when you get downstairs, the ghouls. You can deal with the ghouls. Oh yes, Village of Hamlet. Now N1's a dark horse. I have a problem with N1. I don't dislike N1. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike N1, but it's got a railroad problem. It really does. Very much like you can just feel the iron tracks running all the way through that module. But you should retool it. You should really take a wrench to it and fix a few things. I mean, its environment is good. Its environment is good. So I'm not saying, oh no, N1 is crap. Just get rid of that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it needs some work, right? Like you want a muscle car, you want something, you can really have some freedom with. It's 1971 and you go into the Chevy dealership and there's that Nova sitting there. It's just got a slant 6 and a 2-barrel Chevy carb on it. 3-speed. You want to do stuff with it, right? I'm not saying that's a bad car. I'm just saying you're going to have to put it in the shop. You're going to have to work on the suspension. Maybe get a like a 14-1 rear end, drop into 350, or at the very least, better carb. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, L1 is another good example. And I mean, there are tweaks that you need to do to T1 also. I mean, Gary, this is like seriously, like who pissed in your coffee that morning, Gary? And I knew Gary, okay? I worked for Gary. Yeah, I'm going to alpha nerd a little bit. But at the end of T1, Gary's like, and if the party wins, send a 10th level assassin after them. They can mask their alignment and speak all alignment languages. Like, dude, they just won. I said, Gary, that's like having Darth Vader step out behind from behind the podium or behind the stage in the award ceremony at the end of Star Wars, and he just starts lopping people's heads off. I mean, come on. What you want to do is, if you've got an engine that's sat for a while, is when you've got your choke all the way open and you're getting it to rev and it's idling, you're working the throttle linkage by hand. Pour just a little dab of water down there. You literally blow out and steam clean away a lot of the carbon down in there. Just feed it just a little splash of water, a little splash of water. I do remember it, Victory Lane. I do remember it. Yeah. Have I ever owned a muscle car? No. I worked on them a lot when I was a kid. My uncle had a 67 Corvette. That's a very sad story about that. It didn't get wrecked. It didn't get stolen. Well, it kind of got stolen, but that's another story. But that also may have been his fault. I could do like a trauma show about my uncle, but anyway, but yeah, no, we used to work on iron all the time at his shop, cars, trucks, you name it, boat engines. What you do is roll a die and see how many weeks before the assassin goes after the party. Yeah, S3 is one of those. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The guys I watch, Junkyard Digs, Pole Barn, Thunderhead, Dylan McCool. Um, there's so many great resto channels. Plugs out, ATF in. You literally just you know, if you've got a stuck engine, I've seen them unstick engines, pull the plugs, ATF in the heads, and over the course of like a day, it looks like a murder scene when you get the engine to kick over and the pistons start moving. It looks like just everything around you, you know, is just spattered with red. He did not gamble. Okay, so quick story about my uncle's Corvette, which, by the way, I have some of the jewelry for. Somewhere in a box around here, I have the nose emblem and the side emblems for that '67 Corvette. He gave them to me and bought repro ones from Eckler's to put on there because the enamel, the cloisonne enamel on them was a little bit faded. Anyway, so Junkyard Digs is the guy in Iowa, James Seymour. Junkyard Digs. So my uncle had this Corvette, and my uncle was even back then as near to complete as he got. This is 1983, 84. He had been rebuilding the car. He'd had it painted red. It wasn't a color match red. It was a color scheme though. The red he actually had it painted with Imron red color that was specific for Mack trucks because he was a Mack truck salesman and could get the paint easily. And so a guy that worked the body shop that he had did a beautiful job on it. So the outside was done. The inside was in the process of being done. It was a runner. He got into financial tax trouble, something. I don't remember the specifics. And he sold the car. Now, from what I understand, the agreed upon price was not paid by the person who bought it. But my uncle also could have been lying. And he was like, well, if you're not going to pay me all the money I want for it, you're not getting the car. Unfortunately, he'd already signed the title over at that point. So the guy showed up with a sheriff and a pair of bolt cutters at my uncle's shop, and that was it. But he also, again, my uncle also could have been lying. So that was what happened, basically. And a few times during the 80s and 90s, I would periodically see my uncle's Imron red 1967 Corvette around town. All I can do now is say, I hope it's in good hands. Okay, so Engine Joe asks the question of the moment. I'm frustrated with a 2E spellcasting being dependent on an initiative roll. Why can't they have an attack roll for mages using a D12 and a dice pool to vary results of spell? I don't know. I can't. I can't really speak to it. I prefer spellcasting to go on initiative. Um, in AD&D, initiative is a D6, and spell casting starts on your opponent's initiative. So if you have a one segment spell and the opposite side rolls a 3 for initiative, your spell goes on segment 4. This is a one segment to cast spell. And I like that because it means your spell could get disrupted by an arrow, by someone casting a spell at you. And I respectfully, I disagree with you, Engine Joe. I think I think the spell casting on initiative is exactly the weight it needs. It is exactly the weight it needs. How easy is it to run an old module in 5e rules? I mean, how much of 5e do you want to incorporate? Because it's, I mean, if the answer is not much in the module, flip the armor classes, and that's it. That's really all you have to do. But if you want to give, like, oh, I want a character to be able to make a perception check, I want them to be able to make a knowledge arcana check, I want to, and this, that, and the other, then you're going to have to go encounter by encounter checking to see what might be in the space and then make notes for that. I mean, yeah, and you know, Michael Stronghold there, you know, replace the monsters with the 5e monsters. Um Victory Lane, what I would recommend is pick up the AD&D rules and an AD&D module. Look through them, but have the 5e rules to hand, I guess, and see where things pair up and make the appropriate changes. That would be, you know, that would be my opinion. A lot of the classics now, unfortunately, these are kind of unobtainium at this point, even as PDFs. But the Goodman games, I had a lot of these, but I got rid of a bunch of them. Into the Borderlands, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, Temple of Elemental Evil. There are 5e versions of the modules in those, but I mean, if you can find them, oh boy, do they cost on like eBay and whatnot. But encounter to encounter, when it's not combat and you're not like, this is how I do it in 5e versus, you know, the things here. You're just going to kind of have to go with your gut. Like, if somebody says, hey, can I make an arcana check to see how, you know, to open this door in the Tomb of Horrors, in the Lost Caverns of Sochcomp, in White Plume Mountain, in Keep on the Borderlands, in Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, whatever, you're going to have to decide whether or not, you know. Well, right on, man. Right on. have to check out the elemental nodes. When I had run T1 once, I had a party just go straight into one of the elemental planes of a portal, and it's like, any character who does this is gone forever. And they were like, clearly this is the place we should go. So they all lined up and ran through. I didn't want to end the campaign there, so we just started a campaign on the elemental plane of air. Damien says, are there backfire rules for spell interruptions? Not as such. However, scrolls that are too high level for a magic for a spell caster, be they druid, illusionist, magic user, cleric, or a thief, because remember, high level thieves can read magic user scrolls. There's a chance that something could go wrong there. There is a spell failure chance for clerics. So it's kind of up to you. Hey, not a problem, Victory Lane. Unbreaded, Michael Connor. Hail, Unbreaded. But me, I am cool with how AD&D just kind of handles things. I don't tinker much with the rules. They just work. So I just roll with them. Hope the party magic user. As I recall it, they did have something that permitted them to fly. They also had a rope of entangling. So they found themselves like quickly drifting apart and being blown apart. So the thief who had the rope of entangling asked, hey, can I basically just kind of whip this around and try and grab everybody? So they did, and we went on. It is Victory Lane. I don't hold much with Mr. Arcada. I hope he gets the help he needs. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it is kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke around here. I remember the Orc Chief part, absolutely. Hey, remember the 6-die fireball one tucked away inside the gelatinous cube? That's a lot of fun, too. First level party, 6-die fireball wand, kaboom, kaboom. Raceland has a constitution of 3. Oh my goodness. So, we're kind of getting long in the tooth. Does anybody have any questions or comments? It looks like we're going to have a fairly open field for a few weeks. Kyle will be out until February. I don't have any guests immediately lined up, but I hope to change that real soon. Oh, that's great, Joe. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you'll tune in. But that's just about going to do it for me tonight. Listen, I want to thank everybody. Great questions, great topic discussion tonight. Again, if you haven't, please click the subscribe button. Please click the bell icon for notifications. Tune into the show. We've got a great show coming tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of fun Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to have a lot of fun on Friday. We have this weekend, we've got the inaugural Nerd Council of Doom on our new NCOD channel. I'm going to be spamming the hell out of the links for that once we get it set up. So, please, everybody, tune in. Tell your friends to tune in. And remember that just because it might seem like a nice, safe show, you better watch out for the dreaded owl bears. Peace. Good night. Love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me